Okay, my friends, from or on YouTube, I should say. Um, Oroville Dam back in the spotlight all of a sudden. I thought it was over. The rain came and went and never filled back up to the top. You know, the spillway problems they're having. Um, but all of a sudden, as of March 3rd, Oroville Dam faces another risk: earthquakes from rapid rise in water levels. That's interesting because it is actually possible. And there's some times in the past where some 5 point something and other earthquakes had happened because of a similar situation in which the waters rose fast. When they go down and water levels are down, then they go back up rapidly or whatever. The crisis over the last few weeks at Oroville Dam was about how to handle large amounts of water flowing into the lake with both the reservoir's spillways damaged. But there also was a seismic element at play as well. As Lake Oroville swung from being at about 41% capacity to 101% capacity in just 2 months, scientists are asking whether the filling of the reservoir at the fastest rate in at least a generation can produce a damaging earthquake. No one knows for certain, but the question has been a source of debate since shortly after the nation's tallest dam was built, and a magnitude 5.7 earthquake occurred that some believe was related to an unprecedented lowering and rise of the reservoir levels. Moreover, too small were detected last month, soon after Lake Oroville began rushing over its emergency spillway. That would be 2 small earthquakes. About a day and a half after officials ordered mass evacuations of more than 100,000 people downstream of Oroville Dam, fearing the collapse of a hillside eroded by overflowing lake, 2 tiny tumblers were recorded. They struck in the early hours of Valentine's Day, just before 3 a.m., and they were tiny, magnitude 0.8 and then a 1.0. But it does go to show you that water weight that is, can absolutely have an effect. And if there's any part of the country, which there's actually 2 parts technically that I'll tell you in a second, that I would not want lots of bodies of water getting super full because of the massive amounts of weight they'll be producing. One would be anywhere in California, and the other one would be near the New Madrid fault line, near the Mississippi and whatnot. Those are 2 places I would not want to see massive amounts of water filling. As a matter of fact, I'm going to add a third one, which goes in line with that second one and the one by Mississippi. The Great Lakes above it. If those babies got so packed full, you could imagine an earthquake of epic proportions. And wasn't it Edgar Casey, the old sleeping prophet, who had mentioned at some point, if he's correct, and he had a very good track record, being the sleeping prophet or whatever they called him. It's like he would channel somebody else when he was sleeping and going into this trance, which is fascinating because the guy had like a 7th grade or so education and was using super high terminology on different things, whether it's medical stuff, and telling people how to cure themselves of certain things. But anyways, I thought it was him that said the Great Lakes ultimately would dump down, kind of sort of splitting America in 2 and down that fault line. I think it was him. Those earthquakes, back to the article, were small, so small a human wouldn't be able to feel them at the surface. But given how close they were to the dam and the relationship between some man-made reservoirs and earthquakes, researchers gave the tumblers special attention. Quote, "It's obviously something that needs to be carefully monitored," USGS research geophysicist Justin Rubenstein said, of the need to carefully monitor dam sites for human-triggered earthquakes. So let's think about something for a second. If you had what just happened recently, the spillway was too full, and the first spillway was okay, but then the second emergency spillway was eroding away, and we were all pissed off. Why did you let this thing get to that condition? It needed to be fixed years ago, whatever. And even if that thing broken down pretty severely and water came rushing out, it would have been a bad day for sure. But I don't know that it would have been as bad as if a fairly sizable earthquake, and here's the thing, I say fairly sizable, a 6, 7, could be quite massive. Here's the thing, you only need whatever size earthquake is necessary to cause some damage to the dam. So maybe a 5 point something could be enough and cause the dam to fail somewhere or multiple places. Could you imagine that thing going in that circumstance? So that's what they're saying here. We still need to pay attention. I will say, raise my right hand, boy, am I glad I'm living over here in Florida, away from all that kind of crap, dams and stuff. The biggest dams we got in Florida are on rivers, little teeny tiny rivers around here. And if something happened, it would not be that bad at all, put it that way. Nothing like what you see over there in California and some other places. So he says, but in general, when you see a seismicity induced by reservoirs, it's generally sort of in the beginning of the lifetime of the dam, he said. That's what some scientists believed happened at this reservoir in 1975, 7 years after the Oroville Dam was completed. Lake Oroville, by the way, not related to Orville Redenbacher by chance. Popcorn guy, maybe? No? Anyone know? Okay, thanks. Lake Oroville had been filled before. What made the winter of 1974 and 75 unusual was that water levels had to be reduced to their lowest levels since the reservoir was first filled to repair intakes to the hydroelectric power plant. A month later, there was an unprecedented refilling of the lake that ended in June 1975. Then, the earthquakes started. Instead of fewer than 5 earthquakes a month in a zone within 25 miles from the dam, as had been the case for the previous year, June and July suddenly saw more than 10 earthquakes each month. Then the largest earthquake in the sequence hit, which was a magnitude 5.7 on August 1st, 1975. It was strong enough to crack plaster and walls in Oroville and was felt as far away as San Francisco and Sacramento, where the Capitol's dome suffered minor damage. The 50-person staff of Treasurer Jesse Unruh was ordered to evacuate its office. That August became a banner month for earthquakes around Oroville Dam. More than 3,000 temblors were recorded before fading to more than 700 a month later and over 100 by October. Not all scientists agree that the earthquakes were triggered by human activity, but 2 state seismologists who authored a study in the journal California Geology offered an argument that the events were influenced by the operations of the man-made reservoir. That Oroville earthquake was similar to a well-established example of a human-triggered quake seen after the construction of the Konya Dam in western India in 1962. The major burst of seismicity did not occur upon initial filling, but occurred several years later, following an unprecedented seasonal refilling in each case, wrote authors Tucson Topazada and Paul Morrison Jr., who respectively worked for the California Division of Mines and Geology and the California Department of Water Resources. So here's an instance where in India, same scenario, rapid filling of the lake, boom, earthquakes hit, but not right away. The Konya Dam is believed to be related to a 6.2 magnitude earthquake in 1967, which killed 200 people. There is other well-established evidence for reservoir-caused earthquakes, Rubenstein said, such as the construction of Hoover Dam and the filling of Lake Mead. People started feeling earthquakes in an area with no historical seismicity, he said. Other cases have been more controversial. Some independent scientists have said the 2008 magnitude 7.9 earthquake in China, which killed nearly 90,000 people, was linked to the filling of the reservoir behind the newly built Zipingyu Dam. Chinese authorities have argued vigorously that the dam was not the cause, said Rothstein, an earthquake expert and founder of the website Temblor.net. Lake Oroville once was the poster child of the California drought. In late 2015, the lake dipped to 26% capacity, but began its recovery about a year ago, reaching a high of 96% capacity in May before being drawn down in the summer and fall. What made this winter catch the eye of scientists, however, was how suddenly the reservoir filled up. Last year, it took 5 months to fill Lake Oroville. This winter, it took only 2 months. Oroville's Valentine's Day earthquakes have not been followed by additional, increasingly larger earthquakes. That makes it improbable that the microquakes would be the first dominoes in a lead-up to a damaging future earthquake, Rubenstein said. He says, by all accounts, the situation does not in any way look alarming. That was Stein, Mr. Stein said. But we recognize in the earthquake business that things don't look alarming until the earthquake occurs. So in other words, what I just said means nothing, is what he's trying to say. Indeed, the 1971 Salmer earthquake and 1994 North Ridge earthquakes came as surprises, said Peggy Helwig, operations manager at the Berkeley Seismological Laboratory. Anywhere in California, an earthquake could happen, and I would not be extremely surprised, Helwig said. Boy, that's an expert opinion there. There are 2 ways a reservoir can cause an earthquake. A rapid filling or emptying of a lake can change the weight pushing on a fault, which can make the earthquake more likely, said Bill Lath, acting associate director at National Hazards at the USGS. Especially for a reservoir as large as Oroville, it's a huge weight on the crust that's basically being pulled up and down on an annual cycle. So it wouldn't be surprising if there were earthquakes associated with that, he said. The rapid filling, I just think it increases the risk. I would expect that a rapid rise or a rapid fall in the water level would be much more likely to trigger earthquakes. On the other hand, Lake Oroville has been dealing with seasonal changes in water levels for nearly half a century, and for the most part it has been seismically quiet. It appears to be a relatively stable system. The second way a reservoir can cause an earthquake is from added pressure. Water trickling deep into the earth can increase pressure underground that makes it easier for faults to move, according to seismologist Lucy Jones. The pressure in the water sort of pushes the fault back apart. The added water pressure underground essentially unclamps a fault, like loosening a vise that keeps 2 blocks of rocks stuck together in a way that makes it clear or easier for the earth to move. It can take years for water to filter down into the deep crevices of the earth and add fluid pressure around the fault. The dramatic fluctuation in reservoir levels in 1975 may have been the trigger point for the earthquake that year. So here I'm to ask, this sucker, I don't think, and correct me if I'm wrong, I haven't seen it in this article, and even when this was happening, I don't know that I found this, but I don't know that Oroville Dam has ever been that full to the top to where we had the one spillway. I thought that was fine, and then the emergency spillway, it was just rising so fast, and that thing was letting the water go, but then it didn't matter. The thing, ate through the freaking concrete and all that crap over there, which again, it looked like it was bad construction or needed to be repaired, whatever, and they haven't done it, as government does, drags their feet and then points a finger later and then says, oh, Mr. Trump, we need some bailout money. Why don't you use the illegal alien handout money, welfare money, everything else money that goes to them, and use that to fix that dam. How about that? Again, always reactionary. That's what I always say. They are always reactionary. That's just human nature. But you don't have to be reactionary. You can see things miles, light years ahead of other people and say, I'm going to take an action now on this. Honey, we've lived right downstream from this lake and dam, and while I love our property, it's beautiful over here, if that sucker would have went, our whole entire house, land would have been completely wiped out. And I was listening to this bozo on YouTube, his name is Jason Ford, he brought a very interesting article up I'd never heard of, didn't know this, because we moved here way after this happened, but in the 70s, there were some earthquakes around here because of the rapid filling of this particular, same exact one, dam, or Oroville Lake. And some scientists, not all of course, some believe it was related. And by the way, the same thing happened in India for the same reason, and another earthquake happened there too, right afterwards. Again, not exactly immediately, but afterwards. So if this happened, essentially 1975 time frame, and then it happens again now, and you have at least a few cases to look at and say each and every time it wasn't right when the lake got filled or whatever it was, got filled, the body of water got filled, that it instantly an earthquake hit. It was some time period later. But damn it, not a whole lot of time later. Like, not too far off in the distant future, later, which is scary enough as it is to, to happen that quick. So I think we should put the house up for sale and move. That would be my conversation. But we love this land and love it. I know. But that thing would wipe us off the face of the earth. Yeah, and in that case, maybe we should leave. Let some other sucker come on buy this house. We'll lower the price lower than market value. Come get the house. Oh, thanks for letting us have this. No. Thank you for buying it from me. Because I'm out of here. Oh, by the way, fingers crossed that this time everything's cool with the earthquake stuff. No problem's going to come. That's why you're not going to find me living within, I don't know how many miles exactly I'd feel comfortable, but not anywhere near a nuclear reactor, I would say, as far as, power generation, nuclear power plant. And I'm not going to be living near any kind of dam or anything else. Remember I was just telling you the other day about the volcanic activity? Hang on one second. If you ever had a cat or saw a cat, we have 3 cats. I have 3 kids. Guess what? Each cat has a kid. Each cat has a kid, and each kid has a cat. And Lenny is Nicole's, one of my twins, cat. And when those kids go outside, he feels like he's left inside the house. Meow, meow, just standing at the door. Meow. And God help you, if you come in that front door, he will run out so fast, make your head spin. So we have to lock the door. Everybody, go out the garage. And we have a double door thing. It's like a little laundry room. So you can go in the laundry room, close the door behind you. Because Lenny will be there with the quickness. Look behind you. Door, cat, nope. Okay, good. Open the next door and go outside. So I'm over here doing my videos. Now here, meow, meow. Oh, I know who that is. Look over there. Sure enough, he saw me. He actually saw me. Look back and knew. That old J-Snip4 is doing his videos right now. And I am meowing up a storm. And he took off running. I just went and looked. I just went around the corner. Right? Oh, there, Lenny. One little clap. He knew what that meant. He was already running towards me anyways. The little clap, like, hey, stop. He ran off into the kitchen. But for a cat, he doesn't do it if they're not outside. When the kids are outside, it's like he wants out like he's a dog. I want to go play. But he doesn't want to play. He just wants to go outside. It makes no sense to me. So anyways, this video, this is a new story. Like right now, March 3rd, they're concerned with the rapid rising, falling of that leg, not back rising again, recent times. Could it maybe cause an earthquake? And if it did, again, God help anybody should any damage occur. Because I'm sure you've seen the old folded dollar, the $50 bill or $20 bill, whatever the hell it was. And they're like, oh, if you fold the 10 and the 20, the $15 bill, the 10, the 20, and the 50, you see 9/11, you see the Pentagon attack, you see the Twin Towers smoking in the exact spots the 2 planes hit, one at the top, one at the center, by the way. And then there was the new $50 bill and all this crap. And you fold it the same exact way as the other ones, and you see a dam bursting. Matter of fact, stand by one second. Let me see if I can find a little quickie for you. Here we go. If you look at this, I want to focus on this one on the left. It's and that guy named Jonathan Kleck, or I forgot how you pronounce his last name, or this one. If you he was kind of folding it in front of your face, like in front of the camera, like twisting it a little bit. And as he did that, you could actually see water. It would make it look like water running down the dam. Like you ever get remember those little toys? It was like a little baseball card type of a thing, but it had like that little plasticky material that you could scrape your hands across. It was like real, rugged or whatever, like almost like sandpaper. And when you'd flip it, it would do, a little car would open its door or whatever it was. A little horse animal would jump every time you flipped it. He was kind of doing that with this, and it was like doing the same thing. You could actually see like water running. That's a freaking $50 bill. Goonies, $50 bill. We found the dam money to fix the boondock. Well, you didn't find the money to fix that dam if it goes data. You're not fixing that, pal. Anyways, I always wondered, because it looked like when they really examined this and they examined the Hoover Dam, the structure, the way it looked like with this $50 bill I just showed you, looked like that dam, not the Oroville Dam, by the way. So that's interesting because the same thing could happen Lake Mead. And if that baby goes over there, the Hoover, ooh, or Oroville, either way. But any big dam, I mean, in all honesty. And there was a very old Webbot report years and years and years ago. I remember it, where it talked about like an earthquake, dam flooding, something like that, and bridges destroyed, overpass type bridges destroyed for 1,000 miles. Was the word that was a part that kept coming up in relation to that. Bridges destroyed for 1,000 miles, something like that. Just huge. It was essentially because of an earthquake. So anyways, I just want to share that with you. Oroville Dam, not out of the woods yet. And it could be months. It could be a year. Who knows? No idea. I'm going to say I hope it's never. I don't want to see my people in my country, other citizens have to deal with this. And unless it's riffraff. If you're riffraff and you're living down from the Hoover Dam or the Oroville Dam, just kidding. Not anybody. I don't want to see anybody getting hurt. So anyways, gots to run. Take care.